One of the world's December religious traditions is Hanukkah, a celebration in Judaism that's often called the Festival of Lights. It's a poignant reminder of how hope can reemerge in the aftermath of struggle. More than 2,000 years ago, the Emperor Antiochus forced Greek religious traditions upon the Jewish people. Judah the Maccabee successfully led the Israelites in a rebellion to reclaim religious freedom. With a new awareness of the cost of war, Jews once again lit the sacred lamp in the ruins of the temple in Jerusalem. As the story goes, there wasn't enough oil to keep the light burning constantly as tradition required, and it would take 8 days for a messenger to return with more oil. But as an act of faith, an expression of hope, and perhaps a gesture of defiance, the priest lit the lamp anyway, and somehow the flame burned for 8 days. For centuries since, during Hanukkah, Jews light the candles of the menorah, adding 1 candle each day until all 8 are glowing. And there's a song about that. It's Light One Candle, written in 1983 by Peter Yarrow of Peter, Paul, and Mary. And it recalls not only the Hanukkah story, but the underlying message. The song asks, what is the memory that's valued so highly? We keep it alight in that flame. What's the commitment to those who have died when we cry out they've not died in vain? Have we come this far always believing that justice would somehow prevail? This is the burden, and this is the promise, and this is why we will not fail. The longing for peace and a better world has a long human history. It's in the Jewish tradition that we find one of the earliest recorded songs that expresses this longing. Psalm 133 begins with these words, Hini matav uma naim, shevet akim gam yachad. These words are often translated, how good and how pleasant it is for people to dwell together in unity. But the translation of yachad as unity isn't exactly right. Yachad is from the word yachid, which means absolute unity, a unity so complete that in the Talmud, the word yachid is sometimes used to describe God. The psalmist's choice of the word yachad signals a longing for a unity that might arise from an ascended level of universal human consciousness, an enlightened awareness of connection to all that is. In this winter season of increasing darkness, the song Hanarot Halalu, which means we kindle the lights, reflects the human longing for light, and perhaps also for the unity of unfailing connection that's possible only through inner light, what Buddhists would call enlightenment.
From all over the world in many different cultures, humans have special traditions to celebrate the birth of a baby. From the Maasai, the nomadic Maasai people of Kenya and Tanzania, come these words. Hail the day on which this child was born. Rejoice. Let us all sing and praise her who gave birth. Praise her who gave birth to a child for whom she had longed. Greet this day with joy. Our hearts are glad.
In a world that is too often divided unnecessarily along religious lines, it's important to remember that the traditions and stories of one religion may also be the traditions and stories of another. This next reading is from Quran, from the Book of Miriam. It recounts Mary's experience after she returns to her home village just after Jesus has been born. And if you listen, I think you'll see some of the ways in which this holy scripture of Islam reflects human nature no matter what religion or culture. At length, Mary brought the babe to her people, carrying him in her arms. They said, "Oh, Mary, truly an amazing thing. You have done something terrible. O sister of Aaron, your father was not a man of evil, nor was your mother unchaste." Mary didn't answer, but she pointed to the babe as if to invite the child to speak with them. And they said, "How can we talk to an infant in the cradle?" And then the babe, Isa, spoke. He said, "I am indeed a servant of Allah, who has given me revelation and made me a prophet. And Allah hath made me blessed wherever I may be, and has enjoined on me prayer and charity as long as I live. Allah has made me kind to my mother and not overbearing or disobedient. May peace be upon me."
The 14th Dalai Lama said, "Peace starts within each one of us. When we have inner peace, we can be at peace with those around us." In any religious tradition, there is a risk that people will become dogmatic about the details, so much so that the doctrine overwhelms the central message. In the Christian tradition of Christmas, the central message isn't a religious doctrine or set of rules. The central message of Christmas is hope. The human hope for peace and the human longing for a world where goodwill, like an outstretched hand, reaches to all people. May the celebration of Christmas remind us that beloved community is possible, not because of choirs of angels sing, but because human hearts are open.
Don't leave your broken heart at the door. Bring it to the altar of life. Don't leave your anger behind. It has high standards, and the world needs vision. Bring them with you, and your joy and your passion. Bring your loving and your courage and your conviction. Bring your need for healing and your power to heal. There is work to do, and you have all that you need to do it right here in this room.
The English poet Tennyson wrote "Ring Out Wild Bells" in 1850, a long time ago. Yet in this excerpt, his words resonate with the challenges and hopes of the 21st century, our century. Ring out wild bells to the wild sky, the flying cloud, the frosty light. The year is dying in the night. Ring out wild bells and let it die. Ring out the old, ring in the new. Ring happy bells across the snow. The year is going, let it go. Ring out the false, ring in the true. Ring out the grief that saps the mind. For those that here we see no more. Ring out the feud of rich and poor. Ring in redress to humankind. Ring out a slowly dying cause and ancient forms of party strife. Ring in the nobler modes of life with sweeter manners, purer laws. Ring out false pride in place and blood, the civic slander and the spite. Ring in the love of truth and right. Ring in the common love of good.
How short the daylight hours have now become. How usually gray the skies. How barren seem the trees. Winter's arms enfold me. A chill has gripped my mind and slowed my steps, yet something in me reaches towards light and laughter, towards bells and carolers. Something in me welcomes this season's stories of newborn joy and goodness. These stories speak the truth of older myths. Winter's arms may hold us, but light returns to balance the dark. Life surges in the evergreen and in us. Solstice marks the longest night, yet this time of darkness also heralds the turning of the world and the return of light.
Every war and every conflict between human beings has happened because of some disagreement about names. It's such an unnecessary foolishness because just beyond the arguing, there is a long table of companionship set and waiting for us to sit down. What is praised is one, so the praise is one as well. Many jugs poured into a huge basin. All religions, all this singing, one song. The differences are just illusion and vanity. One song. Sunlight looks a little different on this wall than it does on that wall, and a lot different on this other one. But it is still one light. Oh, we close our celebration of many voices, one song, with a Sufi Muslim song, Ishq Allah Mabud Lillah, a song that's often used in the traditional Sufi dance of peace. There's a simple version of this song that you have, and the choir will lead us. Please join in when it feels comfortable.